Good day everyone, it's Caitlin and today we are making an 1830s child shift. Welcome. So, let's get started. Okay. Long backstory to this project. So, I've been thinking for a while that I do have a lot of women's clothes that I use for demonstration purposes, like when I go do talks or whatever. I may not be wearing clothes, but I have extra clothes I can demonstrate with, and then I have an extra set of clothes. That way, if I am wearing clothes, but I also want to demonstrate the layers, I can do that as well. I don't have anything for kids, and I've been thinking it might be a good idea to start learning more about children's clothes. So, I'm a learner by doer, so let's go ahead and make some. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and make an entire outfit for kids. We're going to start with girls, because girls are easier than boys. Actually, we're going to do girls, babies, then boys, because, yeah, that's going to be easier. And say hello to Leo, who has figured out that whenever I talk to the camera, it means he can come over here and get attention. So, I have here, well, actually, let's continue that story. So, in addition to using it for demonstration, I have a friend down in Freeport who is a museum curator, and he's wanting several of us to come out and do some filming for him. For an exhibit he's doing. We're going to do like a little short film. And he needs a little girl for that. Well, another one of our friends happens to have a little preteen daughter. And I'm going to make, and although she does living history, I think she's growing out of her dress. Anyway, I was already going to make a dress for this anyway, so I decided to tell them that, you know what, I'll just go ahead and make a new outfit. And that way, the young lady will have a new gown. And I'm going to start from the underpinnings up because it just makes sense to do that. Oh, there's Leo. My hand was moving over here, so he thought I was here to pet him. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started with the shift today, which we've made plenty of shifts on this channel. And basically what we're going to be doing is using the girl's measurements. However, I want it to fit her for a while. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than what she needs. And that way I can put up tucks in the hem. I can loosen it at the neckline as she gets bigger and make it fit her for a little bit longer, hopefully, which is kind of the idea with kids' clothes, right? You want them to fit into these clothes as long as possible because those things grow like weeds. So, I have here some linen cotton blend, which I've used, I think, on 2 of my shifts. I'm just going to go ahead and cut and make sure this is straight across. Already. Okay. So this is also going to be a good test of, I have written directions on how to draft your own clothing for all the 1830s, and eventually this thing is going to get published and all that. And I used my method of drafting. I've drafted so far to me, to a friend who is very differently shaped than I am, and we're going to try the same drafting method for a little girl. And I think if it works for those 3 people, it should work for basically anybody. So in theory, this is going to work, but I've never tried it on someone this small. We're going to try it. Alright, so first of all, what I need, I'm going to make this simple chemise. I have 2 chemise patterns that I have directions to draft your own pattern. And one is a more complicated style that is based exactly off the extant 1820 chemise that I own. And the other one is a much simpler pattern that is found in the Workwoman's Guide. So, we're going to use a simpler one because I don't have a lot of time to sew this whole outfit together. What I need first is I need to determine the length of the shift. Okay, so my directions would normally be to cut something twice as long as the length if you want the chemise plus 2 inches. So let's say I was going to cut her shift 40 inches long. That's including the 2 inches and all that. Meaning I need to cut something that's 80 inches. But because this is already so wide for her little frame, I'm just going to use 2 panels of this. So I'm going to cut this essentially in half this way, and those are going to be my 2 panels. So I only need 1 length for her. So we're going to go ahead and cut this. Let's go ahead and cut it 42 inches. There we go. 23 inches. Okay, so that'd be 22 when it's all said and done. I know her largest measurement is about 28 inches. It's about twice as much as she needs. So I probably ought to cut this down a little bit more, perhaps do her sleeves from this. So I want to go ahead and do that. It'll create a little bit of a waist, but it won't be bad. That's 23, that's 22 plus 22 is actually 42 inches, which I only need about 38 inches. That's not terribly full. You know what? We're going to keep it this way. I'm fine with that. Okay. So what I need to do first, actually we're going to do that at the very end, I think. Okay. We're going to put these two pieces back together. Okay, and I'm just going to make the executive decision that this is now the top. So now we're going to, according to my directions that I wrote, fold it in half this way. A little bit better than that, thank you. And I know we are going to mark halfway down this thing. I only need to make this part even for right now. Alright, I'll just cut off an extra half an inch of that other one in just a moment. Okay, there it's folded in half like I needed to. Alright, next up we're going to mark the neckline. So what I need is her 28 inch, which is her bust measurement. Well, actually it's a little less than that. We're rounding to 28, divided in half, which is 14, and added about 10 inches is 24-ish inches. And then dividing that by 4 is 8 inches. No, 6 inches. So 6 inches will be right here. I'm going to be cutting off this little excess in a minute. Basically, what I need is to cut. Well, I thought I had it. Apparently, not the door now. Okay, from here, we're going to make kind of a straight line to connect these two. Okay. So cut that out. These are her gussets, or these are her gussets. Okay. Okay. Go ahead and cut off this excess that doesn't belong here. Okay. Alright. Now I have 4 gussets here. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch the straight swivel in a minute when I'm ready. Not quite ready yet, but we're almost there. Just with a running stitch, I'm going to stitch together the straight sides of these gussets. So I will end up with 2 gussets. And they will look like that. Alright. Now I'll continue working on this. So the next thing I need to do is measure out her neckline, which is, I believe I measured out 4 inches. So this will be just her, she's very tiny. Let me get this right here. 6 inches is going to be enough. Let's go and make a narrower shoulder. This excess off. Not sure how that happens, but it's fixed now. We're good. Alright, this is going to be the top of her chemise. I need to sew together the shoulder seams, which I wouldn't have to do if I had cut it all one piece, but because of fabric, we're going to do it this way. Awesome. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and cut her neckline in the front a little bit lower, just slightly. You typically see that. So that's the only thing I need to sew, these 2 things, and I need to sew these. And I'm going to do run and fell seams on all of it. And we'll come back and sew the gussets into the skirt here. Actually, you know what? We're going to cut sleeves first. That makes logical sense. And I actually don't have her sleeve measurement, so I'm going to measure mine and then make it smaller. How wide is my normal sleeve is 6 inches. She is, of course, a child, so let's do 4 inches. Actually, should I do 3? We'll do 4. And I'm going to make this 10 inches, right? Let's make it 11 just to be safe. I didn't ask for this measurement, so I could always just go ask again, but it's easier. As long as it fits her, it'll be fine. And I'm kind of erring on the side of making it too big so it'll fit her longer. Alright, and gussets. They're going to be the same width. I think. Usually they are. Squares. There's a whole math component to actually figure out exactly what you need. But this should work for her because I'm making such a big chemise. Okay. Awesome. While I'm sewing, I might as well go and sew this together. Let me iron this first. I'll go ahead and sew the gussets in as well. You might as well. No reason why we shouldn't. Okay. And then this goes this way. Alright, so I have done what we discussed, which was basically to make the gussets and the sleeves, and I've pinned them all in. I just went ahead and did the running stitch on the sleeve. So the sleeve is attached now. It is not felled, but it is attached with the raw edge. There's the sleeve, the little gusset, side seam, and here are the gores that I've been working on. So there's the center seam that we talked about. I went ahead and sewed the gore to the front and felled it, and I'm working on doing the running stitch to the back. And from the back, you know, I stopped here at this point. I'm going to go all the way up this time and just do it all in one little seam. All in all, it looks like I'm going to get this whole project done in the evening, which is, you know, for hand stitching a whole garment, not too bad. Looks like I'm going to be putting into 4.5 to 5 hours of work when it's all said and done. To do both sleeves, one of the gussets, to get one incomplete side done. This is just the second side. It took me 2 hours to do that. So when you factor in 2 more hours to do this half, hey Laura, hemming the neckline and then the hemming of the actual hem, and adding the few minutes it took us to cut it, then yeah, it's about 5 hours. And that's 5 hours of slightly distracted sewing because I've been talking to the boyfriend the whole time. And then there was a brief moment, like 15 minutes, I wasn't able to sew at all because I was on the phone with my mom. So it wasn't like continuous, like get this done, get this done, just get this done sewing. It was more casual sewing. 5 hours of casual sewing, and you can make a little girl chemise. I am concerned about the length of it. I mean, I did follow the measurements. It looks like it's going to end up a little bit long, but that's okay. As long as it doesn't peek out from under her dress, it'll be okay. And then that way she can at least grow into it. Turning out to be a very cute little chemise. I think I would next time maybe make the shoulder straps a little bit bigger or wider, which means probably cutting a slightly wider chemise, which I was trying to figure out how to do that without wasting any fabric, because in one panel will be too small. And what I decided would probably be best is to cut 2 different sizes at the same time. Cut one that's maybe 5 or 6 inches, maybe about 5 inches wider than what this is, and then do the next one 5 inches narrower, and that could just be a shorter, smaller chemise for a younger child. I mean, if you're sewing for kids anyway, you're probably, you can use this big one as the one that she grows into. Okay. Alrighty. So that's run. It's going to go this other way. Okay. So I need to cut half of this down, but only just the one. I'm leaving the other one. So we're going to fill the seam. It's going to take away some of the bulk. Because we're going to fill the sleeve at the same time. Just to do it all on one thread. Makes it really easy and very fast. Again, I did choose the easier sewing chemise, the one without all the separate pieces, because there, you know, my original has separate shoulder straps, and there's a lot more detailed work involved in it than this one. This is still period style. Okay, so that's all cut off. And that, of course, finished the edge, because, of course, you know, we don't have pinky shears, we don't have sergers, no zigzag stitch, although you could overcast the edges by hand. This is a much better way of doing it. And yes, you are essentially sewing each seam twice, but it's very sturdy. And that's what we mean by a run and fell seam, when you just do the running stitch and then you fold over the raw edge and encase it and then stitch it again. I think the next step after finishing this one felling seam, this is my last felling seam. My one felling seam, or my one last felling seam, and then we're going to sew down the neckline. So that, of course, has raw edges that need to be finished, and so we'll just flip those raw ends under, stitch them down. I am going to put a drawstring in the front. Lady, stop, please. And that way it can be snugged up to the neckline if it's a bit big, and let out as she gets a little bit bigger. And so I have, oops, that silk ribbon that has nothing to do with this project. This stuff, which is, was given to me by a friend, and it's a linen tape. It's very, very similar to the original linen tape I have in my collection on my chemise. So, that's what we're going to be using for the front and the back of this to kind of get that all nicely snugged up. Be great. So you see that raw edge here. I did this side already just because I finished that whole end. But I need to do this side, and then I need to do the front and the front and the back. Yay, more sewing to do. And of course, after that is just hemming it. So we'll finish up the neckline first. And then hem, and that'll be it. As the cats fight in the background. And this one was like a whip stitch. I'm just taking a little bit of bow pieces just to keep that raw edge turned under. And there you have it. That's the felled seam. Most of the seams in this are felled. Which again, yes, does mean you're running them twice, or you're sewing them twice. But also again, it's very secure. And it works really well for underwear. It's something that you're going to wash a lot. So that's why we're doing this the right way. Alright, I am finishing the hem here. It's basically kind of like felling. And I did the same thing up on the neckline. Here's my little linen tape. Put 3 of them in already. I just need to put in the last one. So kind of just stick it in the edge here. Now, ideally you would do like an eyelet hole here. I forgot on my extant, well no, I forgot on my reproduction of the extant one. And this works really well, just it's not the greatest, but it functions, so I just do it like this now. And just kind of sew it in. Alright. And we have a chemise. And there we go. Adorable little child-size chemise. I do think the sleeves turned out a little bit longer or wider than they necessarily needed to be, but it'll fit her for a while. So that's actually, I'm totally okay with that. Neckline should hopefully fit her for a while, because the bust-ish area is about 15, which is 30 inches. Hopefully that'll fit her for a little bit. Hemline, the little gores. So hopefully that'll work for a little while for her. And that's one step of many. So stays are next, petticoats, dress, and I haven't quite decided if I'm going to do a bonnet or not. I don't think I need to for the film, but it might be interesting to do a child's bonnet. Be interesting. We shall see how far we get with this, but we're at least going to get to the dress. So stays next, then petticoats, then dress. So at least 3 more episodes of this child's outfit, if not a little bit more. But thank you so much for joining me today as we made our little child chemise shift. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. As always, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back here on Monday.